everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star with Ron. Oh my God, I'm having like a total tongue twister day. All right, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, the legendary musician, technician, and entrepreneur, Mr. Scott Page. Hello and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. Really, really appreciate it.
Let me introduce you to everybody, starting off with my cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
Hey, Ron.
I think you and I are going to get along really well on this interview. You have a happy soul, and I love happy soul people. And I think you're a very positive thinker. Am I correct?
I really try to do that. To me, it actually is very important to me. Yeah, no question.
It's
crazy to stay positive. I mean, it's so funny to me. People get all bent out, especially all of us, and like we're living better than 98% of the planet. So there's a lot to be grateful every day for. So no, I try to stay very positive.
I love that. And that shows in your personality. That's really good.
So we want to introduce you to, we've got the man behind the boards up in Pennsylvania. We have Scott in Pennsylvania, and we have D in Florida. So say hi to Scott and D.
Hey, Scott and D.
Hello. Hey, Scott, love your name.
Wow, it's great, man. Technology at its finest. Look, we're all together here all over the world. Pretty crazy.
Absolutely. Then we have a chat room. We have a chat room full of people. Every country is represented. So say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Yo, chatsters.
There you go. And I need to give you two special shout outs. One to B. Claudie. She's in Germany and she's a huge fan. So say hi to B. Claudie. And then Eileen is in the chat room. So say hi to Eileen.
Hey, B. Nice to meet you. And Elaine, nice to see you. And I'm not seeing you, but I'm hearing you. I know you're there.
Don't say anything nice to Eileen. I hate that bitch. Because she came here for a week and I'm madly in love with her. I mean, we had breakfast. I just love my Eileen to pieces. And then she got on the airplane and she
went back to
flew
New
away.
York.
So I hate the little snatch.
If you want to talk about somebody that's positive, that's her. She's got a definite, very positive.
Don't you love Eileen?
Eileen is the best.
Everybody loves her. But she came here, she teased me with her huge breasts for 1 week, and then she got on the airplane and left.
There you go. So everybody, listen up. First of all,
Jilted am I?
First of all, you guys, we want to let everybody know. So anybody who
wait, let me say it. For you boring people out there who are nowhere people, we used to call squares. There was a group of performers called Pink Floyd. Now that wasn't Pink Flamingos, that wasn't Pink Shirts, that was Pink Floyd. This guy is one of the members of the incredible Forever Pink Floyd.
And hold on, we should say it because he's a saxophonist and guitarist for Pink Floyd. He's also been with Supertramp and Toto, so like 3 super groups, which is unbelievable. And he's not conceited, and he's not a dick, and he's like super nice. And like you meet him, and like he's just like talking to your next door neighbor, super cool, super approachable. Although he's accomplished so many great things.
I've met a lot of rockers in my day, and they're all like that. They don't have. David Bowie had a head. He was a bit, up in the clouds. But David Bowie was, after all, David Bowie. But I mean, most of the rockers I know, who I like? Country Joe and the Fish.
Oh yeah.
Sweet people.
Yeah.
And sweet people, nice people.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. So many times a lot of these artists kind of get a bad rap, and they're actually really nice people. And it's really the people around them that actually get them the bad rap.
Oh my God, we talk about that.
The managers.
We talk about that all the time, about how managers and agents mess everything up.
Everybody should fire their fucking managers because they have wrecked more careers. I have heard stories over my 58 years. I'm 58 years in this business. So I have heard 58 years worth of bullshit about my manager, my poor management. They make decisions that are wrong. I mean, you could play for the president of the not this one, another president of the United States. And your manager could screw it up where he asks too much money. I mean, stupid shit like that.
Well, especially today. Today. I mean, because the business model for artists has changed so much, and it's really interesting. So many of the managers are really stuck. They don't understand how the game works anymore, and so they're really not doing the artists that much. That really helping a lot of them that much. And so I try to tell artists, man, you got to take control of your own
totally
career.
Correct.
And understand how the business works. It's great to have management and people that are on, but you got to know how to even pick a manager. Because what's very interesting is so many of today's the kind of the big managers that were around that were handling so many of the artists are falling down like crazy because they just don't understand the technology, this whole direct to consumer, everything is completely changed. They're lost just like everybody else.
Can I give you the shortcut about what's wrong with managers? Managers think what they think is best, not what's best for you.
Right.
That's the mistake. They say yes and no to their feelings, but not your feelings. And that's when you get rid of the manager. Manager works for you. When you give him all that money, you know, he works for you. He's not your friend.
I have to say too, like just as a point of interest, because we have, you know, we bring on 2 celebrity guests every week, and we've been doing it for like 8 years now. And so we have a lot of people coming through the show, and it's fantastic. And any people that we've ever get that we always have that I have to get that I can't get them directly by like going on Twitter and tweeting to them. Nobody listens to those shows. We have like huge stars that have come on that I had to arrange it through a manager, and those shows do terrible. And we have people come on when I meet them on Twitter, and they're super friendly and they promote it and do all their stuff, and those get millions of hits.
Yeah, interesting.
So it's just something about, it's like a bad vibe or something, because the managers are usually not cool.
I had
the managers so often they try to take the artist and they try to chase the market, and that's a big problem. You know, they see this is big, so they try to give advice that you need to be like that, and that's where they really kind of screw up a lot of artists, because they really aren't trying to be the artist, the honesty of who they really are. They're trying to be something else. You know, I kind of consult and I mentor quite a few artists today. And there's actually one by the name of Shalita Burke, believe it or not, who's just killing it right now. She just released her new record. It's called Religion. But she's was in Forbes. She was the South by South. She was the keynote speaker at South by Southwest. She'll be there again this year. She's very interesting because she has such an interesting story, because she's big in blockchain and technology and understanding and these types of artists are the kinds of artists that are really coming today that really have a good understanding of what's happening.
I saw on YouTube, because you did it you played saxophone with a band called Privet Earth, who I actually know that band.
Oh wow!
I actually know them, and actually the record label that I do some stuff for once in a while actually put their album out. So like I've actually like met them and everything, and I almost played that video just because I know them, and you were playing saxophone in it, because you have so many great YouTube clips of you playing saxophone with like all these cool people.
What label are they on? Plug the label.
Spectrum Music Group.
Spectrum Music Group.
So like it was just.
There's a lot of those bad. There's also a lot of bad YouTube ones, because you get people in the audience that catch you on a bad night.
Yes.
They post that stuff up, and it's like painful.
I think though you know you don't look like you've aged at all. The hair is different, because you used to have hair like down to your navel or whatever. But other than that. You look the same. Like, and one thing I find extremely fascinating about you, and we're going to talk about your Think experience, is that you're very technology oriented, and most people, you know, who are very technology oriented are like 25 to 35 years old. Like, you're way out of the realm of, and you're not just good at it, you're like a genius at it. And so I think that I think you're selling.
I think you're being ageist because you're selling it short.
I'm not selling. Not when you see what he does.
Listen, we all have comedy and fun with the people who don't do it because it's campy. Like my father can't work a cell phone, shit like that. But you know how many? I'm 78 years old. I'll be 79 soon, and I do pretty well. Yeah.
He does everything,
and I do pretty well. I mean, for an old,
that's good.
Yeah, well, for an old bag, I do pretty well.
Yeah, but he's putting on concerts that fill arenas.
Well, but you know what? Yeah, but I produced a TV show called Set the Record Straight for 8 years that went all over the world. So, you know, and I was about 70 at the time. And I never used a manager. I called Jane Russell up. I called Tab Hunter up. I called Lauren Bacall up. I called them myself. And Jimmy said, you can't do that nowadays. I call celebrities directly to their phone. I say, hi, Ron Russell, would you like to be on our show?
You have to have their phone number to do that.
I get their number. Everybody's got everybody's number.
I can find anything today.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I could get your phone number in 20 minutes.
You can get it from me. I have it.
So you see what I mean?
1 minute.
No, the world has become very small. Very small.
Oh, yeah.
The only one that gave me a problem was Liza Minnelli. When I called her up for Jane Russell to do a benefit, and Liza said, who is this? And I said, Ron Russell. How did you get this number? Oh, my God, I'm changing the number. And she threw the phone in the air, and some guy grabbed it, and he said, who is this? You can't call this number anymore. And I thought, what the fuck is going on? Jane Russell. Jane Russell asked me to call. The famous Jane Russell, you know, Tits for Days. She was the one that said, call Eliza, see if you can get her to come in my benefit. And they were like, must have been loaded out of their bird. I mean, they was.
Oh, that's funny.
They must have been playing in the snow all afternoon because, I mean, they were like wild.
So before we talk about Think Experience, I want to do two other things first. Number one, tell everybody and move to the side what that thing is behind you that I absolutely.
My angel. That's called the Angel of Now. And what it was is in Los Angeles, there was a thing called the Community of Angels where they had these angels and we had artists paint them kind of all over the place. And then the money, it was a benefit raising funds. So I basically sponsored one of these angels. It was painted by a girl by the name of Janice Grace, who's a very well-known artist here in Los Angeles. And she actually painted it up at Universal City Walk. And it's a very interesting piece. You can't really see the whole thing.
I love it.
Actually, what's interesting is on the back of it, what I've been doing is I have these little hearts. You can't see it, but the whole back's got this thing. And I've been having famous people paint these they're these little hearts, put famous photographs. I had Charlize Theron and, a whole bunch of folks. And so I'm going to put them on the back and then I'm going to auction this off for charity one day.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
What charity?
Well, I'm working with the Harold Robinson Foundation. Myself, Flea from the Chili Peppers and Nord Fisher from Fishbone, some of the guys that I work with. It's basically, we work out of Markham Middle School here in Los Angeles, which is one of the roughest middle schools in the country, gangs on all four corners. And what we're doing is we're actually building out right now a whole music program for the kids, and we take them up to camp and we train them. And that's a big part of what we're doing with things. So that's the organization we've been really jumping on.
Is that Harold Robbins, the writer?
No, Harold Robinson.
No, Harold Robinson Foundation.
Oh, Robinson. Oh,
yeah,
Harold Robinson Foundation.
You can check it out at haroldrobinsonfoundation.org. An incredible organization. And I love what they're doing because what they're doing is they're thinking a little different. Like a lot of charities are trying to go real big and make it, try to get a lot going. They're going small where they can really make a difference. So we're focusing on Markham Middle School, building a repeatable process on how we can really support that. And then we'll expand it over time. And it's a great organization. They're doing incredible work with the kids.
Good
I
for
love
you.
it. Okay, so
Good
now
for
move
you.
back over so we can see all of you.
Okay,
It's so funny because I'm from Florida. I lived in Florida for 48 years, and Flea's dad is an actual judge in Florida.
Wow, he's a great guy. Flea is a great guy and really cares about the kids, and we're having a blast.
I met all of them in Florida before they became super duper famous, before they were like they are now. But back when they were first started, it was a lot of fun. All right, so then my next thing is tell us some kind of cool story. It doesn't have to be a long one. It can be a short story of something cool that happened to you playing with Pink Floyd.
Oh my gosh, you're throwing this out at me right now. I mean, there's so many stories. And there's a few I can't tell, but
that's the ones we want.
Those are the good stories. You know what?
Well, I know the ones you want. Now you're making me.
Well, wait a second. Can I ask you a question that I despise asking? And any interviewer that asks this question to me is an asshole. It's the stupidest question in the world. How did you get into Pink Floyd? I hate that question. I want you to answer it. It's a shitty question.
But he's really interested.
But I really want to know because
actually. Yeah, see, I was playing with Supertramp at the time, and Dave Gilmour came out and played on our record. So we became buddies, and that just doing the record. And so I invited him out to a gig that I was doing that night. So he came down to the club, and we played and we hung out and stuff. And then I had this event I was doing a week later that was called The First Dance, which was a thing I was doing at Guitar Center with 50-piece band with everybody from Tower of Power to Toto to Supertramp. So I invited them all down to that. He came back. Next day, he called me up and said, hey, come play on this record. So I came out, started playing on the records. A couple days later, he said, come on, join the band. Next thing I know, I'm flying to Toronto, and we're in tour, and we're on the road, and we're rocking.
Oh, my God. That is the coolest thing
I'm so happy
ever.
that you did.
I am too.
Because who didn't love Pink Floyd? I remember it was my Gucci hippie days. I wore Gucci and was a hippie, and Pink Floyd was absolutely the coolest band. I mean, come on, they were up there with Blood, Sweat, and Tears, who I loved also. Different music. I'm very versatile in my music,
Yeah, I was a big Blood, Sweat, and Tears fan too, because as I was growing up, I was a trumpet player, and that was one of the real first bands, them in Chicago, that came out that actually really had horns and features.
And who didn't love Chicago? My God, we had Chicago on our show. Chicago, another great.
Actually, though,
we had such great music then. What happened to music? Why did music die?
That's really interesting. That's there's a lot to talk about in that. I mean, because when we were making records, we had to be very inventive, man. We used to take microphones and put them in bathrooms and play guitars across the room and switch things around to try to really create unique sounds and things. And now we have everything is just like a button. You can basically recreate anything. And what's kind of a little bit sad is in those days we had to play. So when you go put a solo on, you actually had to put a solo on because we didn't have all these tools where you could, cut every piece, flip it, flop it, drop it, fling it, all the stuff that you can do today with tools like Pro Tools, which is great. That's why I always say the most scariest button on the recording console is the solo button, because then you can actually hear what you actually did, and then you always go back and you start fixing it. In those days, it was really honest. We had to, like, if you're going to put a solo on, you kind of had to psych yourself up and drop it and put it on. You had to play the whole solo, very little punching in and overdubbing. Nowadays, like I said, everything's changing. I think the biggest thing that's the saddest for me is to see the rhythms. The problem is everybody's using drum machines at the point they're hitting, and they just don't, some of these things just don't groove very hard, and all the kids don't really know any better. And so in the old days, it was like, is there something about having a great drummer like, Jim Keltner or Ferroni or, Jeff Porcaro? When you're sitting there playing with those guys, it's just, they add this extra sense of honesty and soul into the music. And that's why I think you see so much of that old music still coming back. The fans are still talking about Led Zeppelin. They're still talking about Floyd. I mean, Floyd it's a crazy phenomenon. I mean, it's still, there's tribute bands that are out there that are doing over $35 million a year playing Pink Floyd music.
I know, isn't that cool?
Crazy, right?
Actually,
I can not only imagine it, but I could believe it because it was good music. It lasted. Again, like the guy we had on before you, he has classic music because he's yesterday and today combined, Motown and today. So he's catching the young and the old. Floyd is going to be like opera in Italy. It's just going to be forever. It's never going to be
Since
old.
I met you, I've been listening to it every day.
Yeah,
first of all.
You listen to it now, it sounds as fresh and as new as it was 30 years ago.
So I have this movie that I love. It's called Near Dark, and it's a vampire movie. It's my favorite vampire movie, and it stars Jenny Wright. And Jenny Wright is also one of the stars of Pink Floyd's The Wall, and we had her on the show many years ago. It was many, many years ago we had her on the show, I think when we were just radio. But I was so excited to have her on because she was in The Wall and my favorite movie. And so, I thought it was like the coolest thing ever, to have her on. And she's like really cool. So let's move forward then.
I want to ask another question. Everybody, let me put it this way. Some people firmly believe that when you played, panties were thrown on the stage, hotel keys were thrown on the stage, you guys were banging everything that came backstage. Is any of that true? Yeah, it is. You're a little nasty. You're a nasty number. Let me tell you. You are a dirty trick.
Let him
Let's
say.
put it this way. I've had more fun than any human being, and I'm alive to talk about it.
There you
So
go.
in other words, you've had more pussy than a cat.
Be nice, okay? Be nice.
But that's not what's wrong with that. If you were
he said he's had a good time and he's laughing.
Yeah,
So.
it's been a very interesting time. Yes.
If Jimmy was a rock and roller and guys were throwing their underwear up in their keys, you'd be in your glory, you little sissy fairy.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change the conversation now. So Scott, you guys has brainchild a new thing. It's called Think Experience. The Facebook page is Think EXP, and I'm gonna he's the CEO. It's a live immersive media company striving to bridge the gap between the human spirit and technological innovation with one-of-a-kind live immersive concert experience, which their first one is called Think Floyd.
That's right.
Beyond the Wall. So tell us a little bit about it, because I think everybody's gonna love this.
Well, what's interesting, it's kind of looking at the whole entertainment industry. What we're trying to do is really invent how entertainment is being served up now. And the reason for that is you can't, like as artists, you can't sell music anymore. I mean, those days are over. So what can you sell? Well, the two things that you can sell is the relationship. People will pay to be part of your clan. If they really love you, they'll pay to be part of that relation, to have some kind of relation. Second thing is experience. And we're going kind of into the experience economy. You're seeing it every day with things like, I don't know if you've seen the Museum of Ice Cream, a pop-up, and people are going to those things. They're going to these experiences. And now technology has advanced so much. And the three big drivers that have happened just over the last few years, which is just now coming to front, is really bandwidth, storage, and horsepower. The cell phone that we've got in our little hands here, there's so much power. So all of those things have now changed the trajectory of basically entertainment and everything we've been doing, because the cost has dropped down and the power has happened. So now we're moving into like people have so much media and they're just overburdened with it. It says, what are you going to do with experience? So Think Experience is really a company that's building a platform that basically ties together the live experience along with the online experience. And like this first one, like you said, is the Pink Floyd experience. And we're doing it in a 360-degree immersive dome. So that when you're sitting in the dome, you're completely immersed, almost like a VR experience, virtual reality experience without glasses, playing the music of Pink Floyd. So we've done our first, these were our first experience, first experiments we've done. We've done 10 shows. They've all sold out. And I've actually have people that have come to all 10 shows. So we know that this model works where you're really bringing a true experience to kind of listening to the music. So we're building out right now this, and we're in the midst of putting together a deal. We're going to be, looks like we're going to be going into Vegas, doing a residency there in a whole new complex that's being put together. We got tours lined up, but this is this whole idea of how do you take somebody on a ride the minute they buy the ticket. So in other words, with us, you get the ticket, you take your phone out. We're using AR. So you look at the ticket comes alive, the experience as you walk through the art domes, all this comes alive, and then you go into the actual theater and actually watch the show. So
Space age for sure.
Actually, I have the video. I took the video off. First of all, you guys, if you want to learn more about this, you can go to the website, which is www.thinkexp.co, not .com. So it's thinkexp.co. And hey, D and Scott, you guys have the video I pulled off his website, right?
Which one is it called?
It's called Think Experience Beyond the Wall.
I have Think Experience Behind the Wall. Absolutely.
Beyond the Wall. Yep. Okay. And Scott, you got it?
I do indeed. 1 minute, 20 seconds, correct? Does that sound about
Yep.
right,
That
Scott?
sounds about right.
Before we go to music,
It's not music. It's a video about what they do.
before we go to video, what do you think of Adamant?
Why'd you
What do I
ask
think of
that?
Adam Ant? I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't seen Adam Ant in years, but I mean.
But you know
it's fine.
something?
He was great.
Eileen Shapiro has been
Okay.
following him for the last 30 years.
Wow.
And she would bang him in a minute. She told me she checked out his crotch. She said he's got a big one. She knows everything about him. Eileen Shapiro is so hot for Adamant. Eileen, if you're in the chat room, am I right? So now
She's not going to admit that
no,
now.
but maybe somebody's going to hear this that knows Adamant, and Adamant could throw her a little bit. You know.
She's met him a million times, and she's interviewed him. She's met him.
She goes to England. She flies to England
see
to
his
go
concerts.
to his concerts. She's
that's
mad.
funny.
She took us to one too in Pennsylvania when we were in Pennsylvania.
I told her, I said, he's a skinny, frail, old little man. If you ever grabbed him with those 44 double Ds, you'd kill him. You'd crush him.
Anyway,
He would be very happy, I'm sure.
Dying from
listen to him. He would be very happy.
dying from boulder kill.
So how about this then, Scott? You introduce it, and Scott and D, when he gets done saying "Think Experience Beyond the Wall," after he says "Wall," you guys start it. How's that?
Sounds good to me.
All right, you introduce
All right.
it
So
for
what
us.
is it? So this Pink Floyd experience, what I've done is I put together kind of an all-star band. It's Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction, Norwood Fisher from Fishbone, Kenny Olson, who started Kid Rock with Kid Rock, did all those great records all those years. Roberta Freeman, who was out with Floyd with me, and a handful of other folks. So it's an all-star band kind of doing our interpretation and an immersive experience of Pink Floyd experience Beyond the Wall. So check it out, 360 Dome.
Wow.
So they're gonna play that.
don't do interviews.
There you go.
we
We're
do-
We're back,
live.
everybody.
Hey everybody, that was Think Experience Beyond the Wall. We have Scott Page on the line. To find out more about it, you can go to www.thinkexp.co.
And I
don't
was
wanna mess
just
it up.
telling Scott that the chat room loves you, and the interview is going so well because we bring out the humanity in people. We take you out of the stardom glare and we bring you to the reality of folk. Because today people don't want glamour and legends like Jane Russell and Barbara Stanwyck, those people. Today they want you to be their next door neighbor, but yet you sing for Pink Floyd. So that's what people want today.
Play saxophone.
Yeah, well, didn't I say play for Pink
You
Floyd?
said sing.
Oh, no, I meant play for Pink
Which,
Floyd.
by the way, you guys, Scott has a fabulous Twitter. You can follow him on Twitter at I am Scott Page, Page. And
Yeah.
and
Thank you
this
for the plug.
and this show is coming Friday, March 8th and Saturday, March 9th at the Wisdom LA, 1147 Palmetto Street, Los Angeles, California, 90013. Is it sold out or can people still get tickets?
You know, I'm not. I think Friday. There's a few Saturdays looking pretty close. I mean, it will sell out. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten the ticket thing, but it's. You know, they could try. I would give
So
it a
how do
shot.
they
Wait,
get tickets?
here's-
Where do they
here's-
go? Hang
no,
on.
Here's the major question before we even go there. What does a ticket cost?
Well, it's interesting. It goes anywhere from $50 to $250, and the reason the 250s is part of this experience. When you're inside of a dome, there's actually for the high end seat, there's these beds that are connected to the band, the music, and you're actually not only experiencing the VR, but the whole immersive experience through the sound.
Oh my
And so
God,
those
that's
tickets
so
are a
cool.
lot more money, but it's really cool. I mean,
So
it's
in other words, if you go there a little loaded, stoned, you can lay in a bed and enjoy.
dude, people love this.
Of course, of course. What's better than to get high, lay in a bed, and listen to great music? That's what we
And
did.
watching a freaking immersive experience, right?
We did that all our lives. What's new?
Yeah.
So if you guys are in the chat room, B just put up the link for their Facebook page, but it's facebook.com/thinkexp. All you have to do, and you can find their Facebook page, like their Facebook page to see everything
Yes.
that's going on. And follow Scott on Twitter. He's at I am Scott Page. And definitely want to check out thinkexp.co. And we still have like 6 minutes left. So
I just want to say I'm sorry I didn't meet you at Sky Bar.
But
I
we're
know-
gonna do it, right? You guys are in LA, right?
we're in Palm
Palm
Springs.
Springs.
Oh, you're in Palm Springs. Oh, yeah. So you guys got to come down and see the show. We're doing
Absolutely.
it again in April. We've got 2 weekends in April, and also one in May already booked. So you definitely got to come down. Be my guest. I'd love to have you.
Absolutely.
come.
We would love to.
May is better. We have a very heavy duty April. May is better. I don't think we're booked solid.
I don't know. It depends, because he's got a movie he's shooting.
I'm shooting a film in a couple of weeks. I just
Okay.
finished.
Oh my God! People in the chat room are writing, "I'd love to get high and go."
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Listen.
So tell us.
Wait, hang on a minute. Our show is not for prudes, virgins, or Trump lovers. This show is for people who are honest, down to earth, and real. Who doesn't want to get a little happy and lay in a bed listening to Pink Floyd and watching this visual?
Oh, Eileen wants to find out when. You'll have to let us know when the Aprils
Oh,
and
why,
Mays
she's
are,
coming
because she
back?
said she'll fly to come to that. She'll come back out
you
to
think,
go.
Right, right.
really, Miss
She'll come back
Eileen?
out for you.
Hang on.
I love Eileen. She's so
Yeah,
awesome,
well,
man. She's
Well,
incredible.
Well, listen to me, Miss Eileen. I'm going to blow you away because I'm going to get a big, sharp hat pin and puncture your breast and show everybody that they're only air inflated. They're not real. You pump them up. You go to a gas station. You put the valve on, and you blow up those. balloons.
She wrote on my text message, in April or May, make sure you find out when we can go. I'm coming back to
Oh, that's what you think, Miss Eileen.
That's okay. We can't wait to have her back.
Oh yeah, wait.
So wait, we have a couple of minutes. So what else you want to tell us? You got anything else you want to tell us? Or tell us a cool story. Go back and tell us a cool story now of
Okay,
something
you
that
can hit me
happened.
on those stories. Trying to think of a story here that would be
Give
good.
us a little bit of a dirty.
A little
one.
bit of a juice one.
Yeah, we need to get
Ooh,
people out their
ooh.
juice.
You know, there's a code of ethics amongst the musicians that we have to be careful
It's
of.
true. It's just
I
one
mean, you know,
question.
I
Answer
think
this.
here's an interesting story, just as
Let us know.
fun to knowing about Floyd. So Floyd, when I flew back, we ended up rehearsing in this airplane hangar in Toronto, and they used to have to fly where it was like 747s. The doors used to be open up, the 747s would be going by. We'd have flying pigs. We'd have all this, everything would be going on in this thing. And it was like such a strange thing to be actually out on the airport in the tarmac, rehearsing this band. And, it was a very interesting. I just remember myself sitting there in this place, nobody in the room, just the place going, pigs flying, things, 747s going by, and I realized that moment I was in the game.
There you go. I love it.
Now that story was not what I want.
I know. What you want.
Now I'm gonna ask you a very simple little.
Oh
cute,
no, don't do it.
No, it's a simple, cute question. It's not an outrageous question. Did you guys gang bang those broads, or you banged them individually?
No, you can't answer that now. Not in the Me Too movement, because it's still they'll come back after him.
Oh, dude.
Oh no, they all wanted it. No, that was not right. I know. Listen. I've been to many rock concerts, and I swear to God, I forgot who it was. It was the guy with the snake. What's his name? I forgot. The guy with the snakes around him. The rock singer.
I don't know. Alice Cooper.
Alice
His
Cooper.
daughter's coming on in 2 weeks.
Alice Cooper. I went to a thing. I swear to God, on my kids, the girl next to me had an orgasm. She was coming. She told me. She said, "Oh my God, I'm gonna come from just watching Alice Cooper." And I thought, "Oh my God, what magic! What would I have to do to get some broad to come? I would have to pull out the vibrators, the poppers, and everything to get her to come."
So wait, hang on. What in the chat room? That's so what? What's your favorite Pink Floyd song to play saxophone on? Like, because I see Money a lot of times.
Always my favorite was Us and Them.
Okay.
Us and Them was always a blast, and it because that was I had a lot of saxophone in it. It's a ballad, so I always enjoyed playing that one for sure.
Did you ever see an old movie with oh Jesus, my brain went dead. With oh God, go on, talk. I'll get it back.
One of the funny things about us.
Okay, let him go.
I'm
Go.
79. You get these brain farts every now and
Yeah,
then.
that's what it is. You're just saying it's funny. So I remember what
Ava
was so interesting
Gardner.
about. What was
Ava
so
Gardner.
interesting.
Ava Gardner movie where she was in a nightclub, and there was
Ava Gardner.
Ava Gardner was in a nightclub in Paris, and this saxophone player was playing the most beautiful saxophone I have ever heard in my life. Do you know the film?
He doesn't remember.
I don't remember.
Anybody, I don't remember the name of the film. I will get information for everybody.
I was like, go back to him because we got 2 minutes. Go.
Wait,
I was
wait,
just gonna say. So
let's-
when
let's
one of
finish-
the things.
Wait. Do you ever play sexy saxophone?
Everything. he
Because
plays is sexy.
saxophone is very sexy to me.
It is very sexy. I should have had it out. I could have played you guys a song next time.
Next
We'll do it
time,
again.
Jeff.
Next time we'll play.
Yes. Okay, so tell us the story you were going to tell us.
I
Quick,
was
you
just
got
gonna say, finishing up Us and Them. So it was always interesting because what would happen is I'd come out on the stage, and it's a big part with the saxophone. I'd come out, and they used to have this heavy, high wattage spotlight right behind me, and the place would go dark, and they'd hit this spotlight and it was just like I looked like I was glowing. But everybody's looking at me this way. But what I would see on the other side is I would see my shadow against the stadium, right? Like when you do one of these things.
That's
And so I
fabulous.
used to sit there and play this whole story where it actually make and nobody could see it except for me because I was like on the back of the stage. So that's what I loved about Us and Them. It was fun to do.
Well,
that.
the next time you come on, I want you to play lazy, sexy, blues saxophone.
Okay, next you got it.
That's my thrill.
Actually,
in
the
life.
chat room is all going. They would die if he actually played saxophone.
No.
If
that's
I
good.
had
But
more
when
than a
you-
minute, I'd grab it, but I can't. It'll take me
No,
more than a minute
but-
to grab it.
People out there that don't know what I'm talking about, please. The movie was with Gregory Peck and Ava Gardner, and they were in Paris in a nightclub, and this black guy was playing sexy, lazy saxophone, the best saxophone I've ever heard, except for Scott.
So everybody listen up. This is Scott Page. You can follow him on Twitter. I am Scott Page. Go to thinkexp.co to find out more about the Think Experience. Like the Facebook page. And before we go, just blow a kiss to B because she's just freaking out. There you go. We want to thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll be in touch. We'll talk to you soon. And we'll see him because he's going to go to Rock Against MS with us.
And
That's right. I'll be there with that. Thank you for that. And also, I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. First of all, you guys are a blast to talk to. So thank you very much.
Let me
Absolutely.
tell you something. You're not a celebrity of mine. You're my friend. I feel like I'm your friend. We can hang out together. Really have a
We're
good
going
time.
against Rock Against MS.
I know. I'll
It'll be
meet you
fun.
finally, and I'm even crazier in person.
There you go. I gotta love it. All right, Scott. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.
Everybody,
Take care,
everybody, thanks
Scott.
for tuning
Thank
in.
you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much for a wonderful
Everybody,
interview.
thanks so much for tuning in. Danielle and Scott from Rock Titan TV. Thank you so much, and we'll see all you guys next week. Bye, everybody. See you.
Bye. Bye-bye.